Hello there my music lovers, I'm Josh from Audiophile Heaven and today we are having a look at IMR audio EMs. Those are made in UK and they make limited runs of each one of their EMs. So this is the IMR Elan and IMR Ozar EMs. Let's first have a look at Elan. Elan is the more expensive of the two. It is part of their professional line. They are made in limited runs of about 100 EMs per run, so you have quite a few EMs. These ones are priced at 6,000 Great Britain pounds, and the Elan has the better overall package. It comes with a metallic Pro audio card. This is the 56 EM and they have just 4 remaining, so you know they are pretty sought for. They come with a good selection of tips, both silicone and foamies, and also double flanged tips. They also come with those filters that you can use to adapt and customize their sound. And this has been the selling point of IMR audio for a long time now. They have multiple signatures possible for each one of their EMs. So reviewing their sonics is a bit complicated because you can vary the sound so much based on what filters you are using. The Elan comes with 3 pairs of cables, and that is such an interesting choice. So you have a single-ended 3.5mm cable. We have a balanced 2.5mm cable and we have a balanced 4.4mm cable, the one that I've been using the most actually. The driver is quite advanced and I'll be explaining in the full written review what the driver is and how it was designed. And I've used them mostly as they come with their orange based tips, black filter with black tip, because this is how they came from the factory. So I wanted to hear them as they are. They have a little driver ventilation here, so they do not get any kind of driver flex. The cables are flexible and the cables can be slightly tangle prone. There is a slight amount of driver flex when inserting them, but you just need to pull a bit on your ear and insert them carefully. The ventilation is there also for sonics, not just to avoid driver flex, so it should serve more than one purpose. Their cables are quite long, as you can see, pretty high quality cables, and the quality of the EM itself and the quality of the EM shell has improved a lot since their previous releases. On their previous releases, I could notice that the 2-pin connector, and they are still using 2-pin connectors, but on their previous releases, it was a bit loose, so you could have the EM disconnecting and then falling on the ground and such. This doesn't happen with the new 2-pin connectors. They have longer 2 pins now, which is interesting. I am pretty sure that most 2-pin connectors are this long, but I've seen some shorter ones on the Chinese market. As you can see, doing this on video is much more complicated than doing this in the silence of your home. The other EM is named the IMR Audio Ozar. This is 400 Great Britain pounds, so 600 Great Britain pounds, 400 Great Britain pounds. The IMR Audio Ozar also comes with black tips and black filters. And the only way to actually distinguish them from each other aesthetically is that the Ozar, the less expensive one, has black screws on the faceplate, where the Elan, the more expensive one, has red screws on the faceplate. That is pretty much the only aesthetic difference. Otherwise, they are exactly the same. I have balanced cables on both of them because most of the dubs I have right now sound best with balanced connect. As you can see, the cables are pretty much the same length, so it is the same quality of cables you are getting with both. But with the Ozar, the less expensive one, you are only getting 2 cables instead of 3. So we don't get the 4.4mm balanced cable with the less expensive one. The package also doesn't have that metallic card for the Ozar, the less expensive one, but it has pretty much everything else included, including the tips, the filters, a 6.3mm adapter, and pretty much everything else. In terms of ergonomics, they are exactly the same. They are based on the same shell, same cable connector, same cables, everything is exactly the same about them. You cannot really say that you prefer one above the other, but the Ozar, the less expensive one, tends to be slightly lighter than the Elan, which seems to be a bit heavier on my ears. The Ozar, the less expensive one, doesn't have any kind of driver flex, regardless of how you introduce it in your ears. The Elan, the more expensive one, has a bit of driver flex if you push it too fast and if you cover the ventilation hole. All in all, they both offer the same amount of passive noise isolation, which is excellent, between 20 and 25 decibels of passive noise isolation. They both leak very little. Those around you won't know what you're listening to, and they're both very comfortable. They have smaller than the average body. They are smaller than the previous IMR releases. Initial IMR EMs used to be quite large, but those are pretty ergonomic and pretty good right now. Every single part on the inner part of the EM is rounded, so you don't have to worry about anything pressing or cutting inside the ear. They are absolutely comfortable. And I would be saying that the two sound quite different, and this is where things start to get interesting, because I actually, for most of my time, have preferred the less expensive one, the Ozar, rather than the Elan. The Elan is a very powerful sounding EM, so the Elan is the one with the red. I'm going to be keeping it here. They are about the same in terms of driving. They don't have different requirements. They sound exactly at the same loudest from the same source if it is set at the same volume. But when it comes to the actual sound, the Elan, the more expensive one, tends to be more powerful, more punchy, deeper, and it tends to have such a good control over everything. It tends to be so strong and so delicate at the same time. It has a very strong punch, but the final resolution is very delicate. Everything is intriguing about the IMR Audio Elan, the more expensive one. The reason I'm liking the Ozar more is because it is brighter with the same sets of filters and tips. It is more live rather than being controlled. The IMR Audio Elan, the more expensive one, tends to sound very studio-like. If you've ever been in a recording studio, you'll know that studios have a very black background. They are very well isolated from the outside noise, and they tend to have this very deep and clear sound. This is how the Elan sounds like, the more expensive one. The more expensive one sounds exactly like being in the most expensive studio in Romania and in the entire world. It's such an exceptional experience of hearing absolutely everything. Every single detail is presented to you with such refinement and such precision that you are scared of it. On the other hand, the less expensive one, the Ozar, which I have right here, the Ozar is different. The Ozar is very live. It is like a young child playing it. The Ozar is more splashy. It tends to have a brighter sound with more treble extension. The Elan tends to be very precise with the treble, while the Ozar tends to have some treble reflections that are actually quite welcome for me, because those treble reflections makes music more engaging, more uplifting. Everything is more airy with the Ozar, the less expensive one. The more expensive one, the Elan, has better overall instrument separation, better overall imaging, while the Ozar, the less expensive one, tends to be better if you are listening to live music, especially because you hear the crowd, you feel like you're part of the crowd. It is more direct, more forward, and more punchy. And that was a little comparison between them, but let's review each of them, because otherwise I may just have made some spaghetti in your mind. Comparing to the vast majority of EMs, IMR Audio Elan is a very refined EM with a ton of detail, ton of resolution, very good control, and very powerful overall punch. It has such a strong bass, and bass has always been the focus of IMR Audio in their tuning. Their tuning has always been a bit bass heavy with a ton of lows, a ton of blows, a ton of rustle. Everything just has been very powerful from them, and the IMR Audio Ozar and the Elan are no exception. Both of them are very powerful, very strong, and very bassy, very strong. They are made for basses. The IMR Audio Elan will make you feel like you are in a studio. It is going to be extremely precise. It is going to have a very precise treble, very precise mid-range. Everything is going to be right in its place, and everything is going to be ordered, perfectly arranged. The IMR Audio Ozar, the less expensive one, at 400 Great Britain pounds, is going to give you a very lively presentation, like you are in the crowd at a concert. You are going to feel like you have that life that is inspired by the crowd. You are going to feel like you are in the middle of music. You are going to have a more bright presentation with more treble, but still that beautiful bass, and you are going to have this amazing amount of explosion in you. The IMR Audio Ozar is going to sound live, while the Elan is going to sound studio. I want to make this little mention. I am doing both of them in a single video, despite them being quite pricey, because my overall schedule with posting those videos is quite delayed right now. And I would be saying this, I figured that I most probably won't have the time to finish every single video I make if I make too many videos. So I'm trying to focus every single product or products from the same company in the same video to be able to post more videos. Cutting a video, editing it, and adding fun effects and such is such a such an exhausting process that I cannot do it myself. So it is handled by a different team of friends and they really don't have the time to edit it. So if you have some dimes to spare to give us some money for our cause, if you can help us do more videos, do better quality, we would be forever grateful. It is very hard living in Romania right now. It is very hard doing this full-time and even part-time. It is very hard because I have to listen to all of those. I have to know how all of those sounds. I have to make all of those comparisons. And if I showed you, I have just today more than 5 headphones. So this is the Arsonics Corsa, IMR Audio Ozar, IMR Audio Elan. I have the III TMA2 headphone and I have about 6 DAPs right in front of me, like right on the bench in front of me. And there is so much more in the back, so much more everywhere. There is so much stuff that I need to get to. I hope that this video has been enjoyable to watch. I hope you are having fun on Audiophile Heaven and you can feel the undertones of comedy, irony, sarcasm, and I hope that those videos are fun for you. I hope you will have a lovely week in there and don't forget to subscribe and to like this video if they've been enjoyable for you. I hope we'll see each other really soon and hope you'll be doing great in there. Bye bye.